You and I have to be on side by side on this, and we have to discover the answers that we look for. Because for now, we know that somehow, when we talk of God, to me, when I talk of God, or when I imagine in my mind what God is about, I'm talking about one true source. I'm not looking at it from the ancient way where there were so many characters available and everybody took on his path. It hasn't changed. It's still the same. People took on their own path in discovering. There's nobody wants to follow anybody's idea. But I'm not asking you to follow my idea. I'm asking you to have a single-minded approach, because as I said now, you can't have two fathers. It's only one God. It should be only one God. The different spirits has come as a result of the human aggressiveness in order to be able to sort of discover its source, to discover our source. And everybody developed his own and sort of buy into that. But no, I look at it as we don't need to be able to allow ourselves to fall into that trap. If we really want a peaceful thing, peaceful life, seeking for one God is one thing that will bring peace to us. Not blending the different gods together. Let's say the human race unite. I don't know if that is possible, that the human race will end up becoming united, one. How far can we go with oneness if we cannot find our true source to be one? If we have a divided God, then definitely we are divided within ourselves. If the gods that we are talking about become one, that is, the spirits become one, then we have a greater chance of being able to blend and become one. But we, the creatures, cannot, in our sense of believing that we are creatures, cannot create join our fathers together or join our gods together to make them one. It's not realistically practicable. If we look at it from that point of view, okay, but if they are one, maybe God has always been different gods, and maybe they came together and they invented the many varieties of living things that exist today. I don't know, maybe that is the situation, that everybody played a role in it, and all of a sudden everyone has taken what over what belongs to him. Is that what you're supposed to think? Now, to know the truth of what began in life, it requires a lot. As I was relating, can you really find out the truth about what really happened in detail, in a very honest and truthful way, how you were born or how you developed and into the human and the state that you are? You only depend on those who were there. Was somebody there in the belly of the womb when you were being developed? Today there's technology which gives you that ultrasound visual look in the belly and what happens. Can they be doing that? I think that should be the case right now, that if your child demands for answers as to how he became what he is, then you give the child the opportunity by showing that thing, the visual side of it to the child. And that can be done by, if you have the means to stay in the developing stage every time, you sort of observed it all through to the day the child was born. If you sort of when it was completely in a state of fetus, and how it developed gradually. I mean, if that can be invented, you mean your father or whoever, your mom can decide to do that for you and later show it to you. Maybe that will be the hard evidence that you have got to know the beginning of your life. But in the sense of a general sense of the human approach or the human desire to know, we don't have anybody there who can make that possible, that maybe the true God who sort of invented us will sort of show us that, okay, this is how it was done. And also somehow prove that he actually did that by demonstrating it, for us to know. Because you're able to know that your father is your father through test and through some sort of test, blood test or any other test. And sometimes through the idea of you being there when your backbones or your other brothers and sisters were probably born. So that you can see that, okay, maybe this is truly my father. We also witness childbirth every day. But until these things are really established, you cannot conclude, honestly conclude that whatever account that we have got regarding the beginning of life is certainly the truth. And to fall for the many divided gods, I see it as it has a high probability that we will end up in the violence. That is why we have ended up in the violence that we see around our life, that we are not settled in when it comes to, a very sound and peaceful life. We have those differences and anger and all kinds of things towards each other, the resentment, whichever level it is. But if we are able to sort of, at the end of the day, recognize that this is this very source, it's just one source that we came from. Excuse me. There is a greater chance that we will settle within ourselves and embrace that brotherly and sisterly embracement, that family cordial sort of love will be there among ourselves. It will naturally be there. In spite of whatever differences that might happen, we might still hold on to the idea that we love each other. We are actually from the same place. We will care to some extent, and we wouldn't have much of a choice than to really to care for each other. But until that is done or that is established, and we hold on to what we have now, then we have to hold on to everything that comes along with it, including violence, including problems, including all kinds of things. Now, I'm not advocating for anything than a peaceful and a oneness that is necessary, but how it should be achieved is one thing, and it is all coming to the source where we can recognize the reasons why we have to accept the other option that I present. And the reason is to be able to unveil, to reveal all these things, to also to prove that these things are not encouraging something sound and peaceful, that these things are the roots and the problems that have developed into our life that makes it so tough for us. But until these things are done, no way, we cannot be able to have that strong will, power to sort of confidently, conclude that, hey, what we have is the best. In fact, it's obviously demonstrated to us in our everyday life that it is not. I mean, others accept, and others, hypocritically go along with it. That's entirely something that others will say that, hey, if you can beat the dog, you join the dog. You can. I mean, there isn't any other choice we have. That's the only thing we've got. Yeah. You speak like somebody who has been imprisoned, and so he has to start learning to adapt or to accept the environment, his newfound environment. He had no choice. He's locked up in there. So if that doesn't happen, then there is an issue. But a man should not allow himself to be ruled by any other, any other. It limits you. Your talent will be tapped on by the other, uselessly with no benefit to yourself. It might try to, but that's how it's been for a long time. It will just take advantage of you. It will take that advantage of you. What I mean taking advantage of you here is just as it's been for long. That is all the other begin to make himself superior over the other. Only because he got what you have got and kept what he has already got. So he had it in double. He had it in abundance. And then he sort of determines how much he should give you, whilst he serves himself with any amount that he wants for him.